Ladies and gentlemen, KocoSports.com proudly presents the Boom Boom Room. And of course, I am the sexiest man on all Internet Wrestling Radio. It's right, Boom Boom here, shaking the room live from the RVA, Richmond, Virginia. Well, kids, another Smackdown is in the books. And of course, I'm going to ask the same question that I ask each and every time we do one of these reviews. What do you give tonight's show? Do you give it a win, a loss, or a tie? So down here in the comment section, please let me know what you think about Friday Night Smackdown, win, loss, or tie. I'm going to give it a weak win. I think there was some bad elements to it, but I think there was just enough good to save everything. There was some – everybody kind of played it safe going into Battleground. However, there was one match, and it's pretty much going to be no surprise what it is, but there was one match that I think absolutely saved the show, drove it over the edge, and got it into win territory. So let's take a look at it, shall we? Well, this came to you taped from, actually my old stomping grounds in Birmingham, Alabama. We started out with a tag team match. We had the Lucha Dragons versus Big E and Kofi Kingston. It was good to get to that. Now, normally on Raw, you get 20 minutes of your time wasted by pointless promos from Seth Rollins or the Authority. Well, and this is what I like about SmackDown. They trimmed it down. So instead of having 20 minutes of our time wasted, we only had 10 minutes of our time wasted by having. This guy, who was it who came out? It was more so over the. It had Roman Reigns, excuse me. God, I don't know why I could think of his name also, but Roman Reigns came out talking about the brutality that he's going to put Bray Wyatt through. He's talking about all the, what he's going to do. And he's tired of the hiding. He's tired of the mind games. He's ready to take out Bray Wyatt, and it's going to lead to a tag team match a little bit later in the evening. Of course, Bray Wyatt interrupted, calling Roman Reigns a fool, and said, I've finally worked to draw that rage, to draw that potential out of you. So I think it was a good build up here, but nonetheless, we only had 10 minutes of our time wasted rather than 20 like they do on Raw. But anyway, on to the first match. Lucha Dragons versus Big E and Kofi Kingston. Of course, they're representing the New Day. This match was actually a pretty good length. I thought this was going to be like a 2-3 minute squash match. No, they wound up going over 10 minutes. The Lucha Dragons actually got a lot of offense in there. They were always working in to cut the New Day, playing the heel role quite well, mainly just targeting Sin Cara. This was a good, just a pounce. The New Day would pounce on the Lucha Dragons. Eventually, the Lucha Dragons had enough of it, took it to the outside, took it to the air. Sin Cara hit a suicide dive on Kofi Kingston, and then hit Big E with the Selena del Sol. But Xavier Woods had distracted the referee, preventing the 3 count. And then Kalisto, and then before Kalisto could tag in, they knocked Sin Cara off the ring apron. There was no way to hit the finishing maneuver. Big E caught Kalisto coming off the top rope with a moonsault attempt to hit a double big ending for the win. I think it was good. You had the primetime players there on the outside giving color commentary. I actually think this added. I'm a big fan of Titus O'Neil. I think he does some wonderful things. Why he's not in a bigger role, I don't know. So definitely a match worth checking out. The next match was King Barrett versus Jack Swagger. Now, Jack Swagger, first time I've seen him in months, or it feels like months, on WWE. Now, Swagger had actually made some headlines on the dirt sheet by, believe it or not having a Twitter. His Twitter was up, then it was down. This kind of came out that, hey, Jack Swagger's took his Twitter page down. Does this mean he's wrapping up with the company? What does it? And then it popped back up. So I don't know if it was just some kind of technical problem, or he hit the wrong button, realized he'd hit the wrong button and brought it back. I don't know what it is, but this match really wasn't much of anything. Swagger really very rarely got in some offense, maybe a few, some amateur moves, showing off his amateur background, a few punches and kicks, but Barrett just straight up caught Swagger with a bull hammer out of nowhere, gets the pin, gets the win. Of course, and then you had R-Truth come out and hyping their matchup, the pre-show match at Battleground, and Barrett took exception to it, told him that, this isn't a joke, this isn't a mockery, I take this serious, and I'm going to end your laughter this Sunday. So there you go, building up the match at Battleground this Sunday. Next came the match that absolutely stole the show: Rusev versus Cesaro. These two guys were part of a triple threat match on Raw, which in my opinion was the best match of that night. And where do these two guys go from here? Just a one-on-one. I like this because, and I'm trying to, because if you're watching this technically, you kind of want spoilers because this is a review, but there was no Kevin Owens, there was no John Cena. These were just two guys who got in the ring and started going. Cesaro, in my opinion, a lot of people don't work well with bigger guys, but Cesaro works really well with bigger people. And Rusev, man, I don't know. This guy has just kind of come out of nowhere. He's actually shown that he can go, that he can wrestle. I guess maybe that ankle injury was the best thing that could happen to him, is they put him in boots, and since they put him in boots, it seems like he's just been going. He's just a little bit he's just a step faster. He's not quite as cautious as he had to be with as he was going out barefoot. He really impressed me on Monday, and he didn't disappoint me here on SmackDown. Just a lot of power moves. Rusev, he backdropped Cesaro out of a neutralizer attempt. Cesaro flipped out of that, avoided the accolade, kicked Rusev through the ropes. There was almost a 10 count. He got him back in. Cesaro laid out Rusev. He went to the top and gave him a European uppercut as Rusev came off the top rope. Now, I'll admit that move was a little sloppy. It didn't look very good. I don't think he even connected, but hey, the guys at commentary, I think that was Tom Phillips. It was Tom Phillips, Jerry Lawler, and Jimmy Uso, but they sold it. They sold it like he about killed him. I mean, even though that European uppercut missed. And then after he hit him with the uppercut, he managed to hit the neutralizer and got the win. And this should be noted here. This is actually only the second time in Rusev's career that he's actually been straight up pinned. Yes, he has lost matches before, but he has lost by countout. He has lost by disqualification. But with the exception of John Cena, he's never been pinned. So John Cena was the first pin that he ever took, and that was at Mania. So for the second time since Mania, Rusev has actually suffered a pinfall loss, and this speaks volumes for Cesaro. And by the way, if you ever wanted to know how far back, how backwards Vince McMahon's thinking is, how far behind he is on the times, think of how long we've been thinking Cesaro's been cool, since what, 2013, 2014 at least. And Vince McMahon's just now realizing that, hey, this is a Cesaro kid. I think some fans like him. I think maybe we can push this guy. I think maybe he's got a little something. We can draw some money. Maybe we can sell some tickets. I think maybe he's worthy of a push. He's just now realizing that. So if you're wanting to know how far behind the times Vinnie Mac is, use Cesaro as your measuring stick. There's no other way. I mean, that's the only way you can put it. Vince McMahon is so, I mean, just, it's laughable how far behind the times he is. So, but anyway, get your questions and comments in. I'll be answering some things as we go out through the review. I need to check a couple of things. This delay brought to you by KocoSports.com. It's where it's okay to be a passionate fan, and you have to deal with Dave Coco. Next, we had Stardust versus Neville. This match, in my opinion, went way too short, but I did like the build-up they did for it. They did the comic book. They did like a comic book vignette. You know, what we saw on WWE.com, the build-up to the match on Monday. They used the same graphic. They talked about the match, about Neville demanding the rematch after Stardust got the win on Monday through the use of the tights. I kind of like how they played it up as like a comic book battle. I like that. And I really wish that I think I can get behind this. I really like the way it was presented, the way it was going. And plus, we've kind of gotten over the shock about Stardust, you know, being back and still going back to the old shtick. We talked about this on the Monday Night Raw review earlier this week, which you can go back. So previously on Wrestle AM, Dave and I talked about, some of the controversy surrounding Goldust. There were some people that were upset about him continuing to be Stardust, not wanting to be Cody Rhodes, and using, his father's death as a way to rally his career and, charge forward, maybe do something different. Looking back on it, once we kind of got over this shock, I'll just kind of reiterate what I said on the Monday Night Raw review. I don't necessarily think people were upset about Cody Rhodes being Stardust. I think what they were upset about was he was still a heel. Like, he jumped back into the Stardust character like nothing had ever happened. And in a way, I respect that. He straight up said, I don't want to use the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life as a way to advance my career. And of course, Dave took exception to that. There were some comments by his wife, that, hey, you can't do that. And Dave was upset over that, over the Eden Styles. It's actually Brandy Rhodes, but I think she's out there professionally as Eden Styles. She was like, hey, we're not going to do that. She took exception to, some people on Twitter. But Stardust actually clarified, the Stardust actually means a lot to him, the name, because when he actually refereed a match, and the shirt they gave him had the word Stardust embroidered on it. Even his dad, the late great Dusty Rhodes, had the word Stardust embroidered on his tights. So that's why the Stardust means so much to him, and that's why he's not going to give it up. I think what irked people was the fact that Stardust came back as Stardust as a heel, like nothing had ever happened, and people just wanted to cheer him. They desperately just wanted to cheer him. I mean, it's like the American Dream died. He meant a lot to a lot of people, even those of us who didn't know him. He meant a lot to the wrestling community, to wrestling fans. And here's his son, going back to wrestle. And it's like, we so want to embrace him. We wanted, hell, I think any wrestling fan, if they were able to, would have given him a big old hug. That's probably what they would have done. And they wanted to hug him. And I think they just got upset because tactics. He kicked away Neville's hand when he went for the handshake. Like, no, I don't want to boo you. It's awkward. Don't put me in this position. And I think that's where a lot of the tension came from, is that Stardust was, playing the heel role. They didn't want to see him play the heel role. They wanted to see him play a good guy. They wanted to cheer him. And I think that's what that led to. But with that being said, the match itself was short, but Neville got the win with the roll-up. So there you go. Well, I mean, I hate to put it that, damn it, my nose itches. There wasn't much to it because it was only like a 2-minute match. I mean, there was like Neville, he did a frog leap at Stardust. He sent him to the ropes. Stardust at one point had like a pin on Neville, but grabbed the ropes right there. It was like after a sunset flip. The referee saw it, and it got onto him for it. Then Neville used that opportunity to roll up Stardust, and he got the win. So there really wasn't all that much to it. The next backstage, we had this is where I think SmackDown really dropped the ball. After this groundbreaking, or that's how they want to put it, the Divas segment, they went backstage and they interviewed Tamina, Naomi, and Sasha Banks. That's all they did with the women. That's all they did. They replayed what happened on Raw, but they introduced this Team Bad. I guess that's what they're going to call themselves, and they're saying that they just turn everything's upside down, and you need to watch this Monday because we're the best at dominating. We're the trifecta. We didn't come to play nice. Playtime's over, however you want to put it. And JoJo did actually a horrible job with this interview because she was smiling the entire time and trying to hide that smile. Just go back and watch it if you haven't seen it. It's horrible. I didn't like it because you didn't follow up on anything. You didn't have like a match. You didn't have her. I know they probably want to save the next match, for maybe Monday Night Raw, but you had to have something. Even if it would have been Sasha Banks accompanying Naomi and Tamina to the ring, and maybe having like a short match with, I don't know, against like Layla or Rosa or something. I think that maybe would have worked, because you got to follow up on that. I mean, you talk about turning the Divas division upside down, ushering a new era. Talk about women's empowerment. # give Divas a chance, and you give us nothing but like not even 60-second interview. I mean, you got to come on, WWE. You got to follow up on that. I mean, you made your audience hungry for it. Now you got to give it to them. And I don't feel like WWE really delivered on that. I'm really not a fan of this faction. Not necessarily, but I don't hate the faction. I just don't like how it was done. I just hate that they just brought her out there, because Naomi's all upset because, oh, you brought all these divas on. What about me? What about my title shot? And Sasha's like, oh, how you doing? There's 3 of them. There's 3 of them. Hey, there's only 2 of you. Hey, I know. I can make your 3rd. So apparently they're all friends now. They see eye to eye just because, fuck it, why not? I mean, that's what I hate. It's just like fuck logic. I mean, it would have made difference. How I would have booked it would have been different. I would have brought out Charlotte and Becky as Paige's backup like normal. And then I would have had, Sasha be upset. It's like, how dare you leave the NXT Women's Champion off of this? And then strike up some kind of alliance with Naomi and Tamina. I would have loved it if they would have done that. But instead, it's just like, okay, you need a 3rd, so I guess I'm in. And I kind of think it's weird how they're kind of like portraying, at least right now, what I'm seeing is Sasha Banks is kind of like the leader of this group. I know she's the NXT Women's Champion, but why would Naomi and Tamina let her have equal footing? I'm not. It's just a lot of things don't make sense. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And I feel like WWE gave us a sample of things on Monday, and they just didn't do a very good job following up on it. I'm glad. No, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that they did do something. They at least acknowledged it more so than just with a replay from Monday. I just feel like they really dropped the ball, but at least they had something. Then next we get to the main event. Yeah, we're already to the main event here. Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns teaming up to take on Sheamus and the Big Show. This match is pretty much what you think it was going to be. This was about. I think it was an okay main event. It was about 14, maybe just over 14 minutes long. Show. I think the only highlight of this was the bad guys isolate one of the good guys to take him to the outside. Now the best part was when Ambrose broke up a pin attempt on Roman Reigns and dove to the outside on the Big Show. Big Show caught him, was like he was going to choke slam him through the announce table, but Ambrose reversed it to a DDT. Both of these guys were laid out on the outside. Roman Reigns, was loading up for the Superman punch. He hit it, then he was setting up for the spear, and then surprise, surprise, not really. Bray Wyatt came in the ring and attacked. This caused a disqualification. Bray Wyatt set up Roman Reigns for Sister Abigail, but Reigns wiggled out of it, hit him with a Superman punch. They wound up spearing Sheamus. And then it ends with Bray Wyatt, up on the apron, smiling at Roman Reigns, hyping up the match for this Sunday at Battleground. So overall, I'm going to give it a weak win. If you've got nothing to do this weekend, you're sitting naked in a beanbag eating Cheetos. Oh, wait a minute, that's my weekend. Never mind. You want to kill some time? It might be worth a look. I did like the opening tag match because they actually got some time. The Barrett versus Jack Swagger match you can fast forward through. The Rusev versus Cesaro is a must-watch. Stardust and Neville, I would say watch it, even though it is short. I mean, I think it's worth watching. It's kind of a feud I guess I can get behind now that I'm through the whole shock of Stardust continuing on being a heel. And I absolutely love Neville. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's going to be he's a future champion. World Heavyweight Champion, I don't know. Definitely like an Intercontinental Champion, and maybe if he can find a tag team partner, I can definitely see tag going on him soon. In the main event, yeah, I like Ambrose. So, plus the spot he does with Big Show on the outside is kind of cool. So maybe overall it's worth a watch. So I'm going to give it a weak win. Of course, we got Battleground coming up. If you have not got your picks in for pay-per-view profits, you still got time. We've got that. That's good until the pay-per-view starts. So if you'll if you're not subscribed to us, go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. But we've got our pay-per-view profits pick'em contest. Just down in the comment section, put who you think's going to win. We also have 3 tiebreaker questions, so be sure to put in your picks for the tiebreakers as well. and you have until the pay-per-view starts to get your picks in. Now, you can change it between now and then if you've already got them in, but once the pay-per-view goes live, all bets are off, your picks are locked, and for every correct pick you make, you get a point, and coming into the pay-per-view, the person with the most points is, well, they're the winner and the pay-per-view profit. It's all for bragging rights, so be awesome. And just remember, the tiebreaker questions are just as important as the picks, so make sure you put those in too. And you can play. It's open to anybody. Anybody can play, so check it out. It's right here on our YouTube channel. So in the meantime, you can always check us out at KocoSports.com. That's KocoSports.com. It's your home for all combat sports. That includes boxing, mixed martial arts, pro wrestling, amateur wrestling, sumo wrestling, taekwondo, kickboxing, judo. If you can get your nose broke doing it, we got you covered there on the site. Be sure to check out our news and gossip section, updated daily, along with our very popular video on demand section. It's KocoSports.com. It's where the world goes to kick ass. So get your picks in with pay-per-view profits, and keep it tuned here, where Dave will more than likely do a paper review following the pay-per-view. Afterwards, we will do Monday Night Raw, the fallout from Battleground / the build up to SummerSlam. And then, of course, we're going to do the Wednesday Night Wars, which is right now Dave and I and any guest we can get our hands on. We're going to review all 4 shows. We're talking about NXT, Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor, and TNA Impact, all in one show. We, trying to have a little fun there, so be sure to watch it and get your questions and comments in. So that's going to do it for me. So let me check right here and see if I've got any new questions. If not, if I miss any, I apologize. We'll try to get to them in a we'll try to get to it maybe a Stump the Idiot. So let me take a look. Yeah, I got a couple here. Let's see. Coco Plays. That's Dave Coco's playing channel. So we got links to it. So check out Coco Plays. Apparently he played baseball while his son asked him questions. So I guess go Rays. LA and DC says, I like Cesaro, but what's the point of having these great matches if they don't build to anything? Yeah, that's very good. That is a very good question. I mean, right now, arguably 3 of their most popular superstars right now, Cesaro, Ambrose, and now Rusev. Well, I don't know if I can say Rusev is popular. He had a great match, and I like the role he's on right now, but that's 3 people with a lot of momentum. They're not booked on the pay-per-view. The Divas division, which you just hyped up, which you just blew the lid off of, there's no follow-up to that. That's not on the pay-per-view. I know that they're building up to the bigger event, which is SummerSlam, but you got to give us something. I mean, especially, I know you don't want to give it all away for free because this is another free month for new subscribers on WWE Network, which is, I think every other month is the free month on WWE Network. Trying to troll for numbers. So I don't know what I guess the point is that we had good matches and we're entertained by something, and that's all we can really hope for as wrestling fans. So there we go. That's going to do it, and that's going to do it for me. So be sure to check us out at KocoSports.com. Like, subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So until next time, kids, this is Boom Boom, and for my partner Dave Coco, I am over.